Welcome back, everyone. Today I am here with Theresa Moore. I don't even know where to start when it comes to introducing her. She has been my friend for the past, I don't even know, 15, 20 years, somewhere in between there. She has been in the fitness industry her whole life. She's been a massage therapist for 28 years, a doula for 10 years. Her passion is women's health. She works with women of all ages to make sure that they are making good choices for their body, their health, their wellness, their pregnancies, their post pregnancies, menopause, everything. Don't even know where to start, but welcome, Theresa.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm very excited. I've never done a podcast.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be so good. One
I,
of
my,
many. So
I
excited. So let's dive in. I think the
know.
biggest thing here is so many women don't know if they don't know. I know I didn't know. I'm 45 and I had my son at 27 and I did what everybody did. I went through everything. I ended up needing an emergency C-section. I had all of these things that I just was taught by Western medicine what to do, and I didn't know any different. As I always tell you, I wish I had a you in my life, before I even got pregnant with Christopher to help, enhance my pregnancy and my birth and all of that. But I guess the biggest thing is, and I already know the answer, but tell everybody, why did you become a doula? And what is a doula?
So I became a doula. I started school with International Doula Institute in 2015. I was in the middle of my first 200-hour yoga teacher training, and I was had already been a massage therapist for many, many years. I became a massage therapist in the 1900s, in 1997. And in massage therapy, I was working with a lot of women. A lot of my clients, most of my clients were women. And I kept learning about all these different things women were experiencing and going through and all the things. Um, and I was in the middle of my yoga teacher training, trying to kind of sort through my own stuff after having a daughter who went through a health crisis. And I kept hearing stories from my clients who were pregnant, perimenopausal, postmenopausal, all these things kept showing up around women. And I've always had this passion for understanding, the body, especially women, because I am one and I have those pieces and I want to know more about it. I want to know everything that I possibly can about it. So it was just like another layer to add on from, massage therapy and all these different modalities that I've learned as a massage therapist and Ayurveda. I'm very heavily trained in Ayurveda. I'm trained in herbalism. I'm trained in all these things. And it was just that one extra thing that was missing. So in my yoga teacher training, I decided I had to choose an emphasis. I chose prenatal yoga and postpartum. And I was like, I think I'm going to look into this doula thing. So I originally was like, okay, I'm just going to start as a postpartum doula. And going through that program, it opened my world into this whole nother level of care and understanding and trying to like lean in and support women from a whole different lens. And holding space was a huge piece of that because as women, sometimes that's the one thing that we might be lacking is somebody to stand there and just hold space for us in a moment, especially in pregnancy and labor and birth and postpartum, when there's so many things that are happening anatomically. And learning that changed my life tremendously and took me in this direction to where now I'm in midwifery classes. But I wish I had a doula. I didn't have a doula either. I was young when I had my kids. I had 3 kids at 28. And I was also like, this is what you do and this is how you do it. But I've questioned it so much. And my massage clients over the years, I love hearing people's stories. I love women who come in and tell me their birth story or they talk about their experiences in their healthcare, all those things. So I've just found all this drive and motivation to learn every single possible thing that I can, so that if a woman comes in for whatever, maybe she's taking my yoga class, maybe she heard that I don't know, I know the how to do Ayurvedic things. People love that. Maybe it's a woman who is trying to become pregnant, and I use things like the Enneagram to help her understand herself, and when she's in stress or when she's in growth and all these things, just to kind of manage who you are. The books have been written, the research is there. And a lot of times I feel like we all go outside of ourselves to find the answers, but going inward, you know, is the key almost to all of this, and understanding your needs. Trust me, I've read the books, I've taken the classes, I'm overeducated. you know, I'm trained in like 700 hours of yoga, just because I just kept wanting to know and know and know. So once you have the information, it's there, it's available. And there's practitioners, and there's really great access to just great people and information and all those things. And once you receive it, you learn it, you read it, you watch the podcast or listen to the podcast, or you whatever, you sign up for the yoga class, the training, the whatever. You have the information. Now what are you going to do with it? So that's where I come in, I feel like. And especially when it comes to birth is a very sacred, beautiful, crazy, intense, primal, natural. I could go on, with adjectives forever, experience, but it's also scary, and it's controlled in a way. And I want to help women lean into how amazing they are. Like, you're amazing. You can create life. Like, what? Like, that's the coolest thing ever. I say that to my kids all the time. I'm like, ew, like, wouldn't think about this? Like, totally take a second. I know it's gonna gross you out, but I like grew you in my body. And they're like, stop. Like, stop. It's weird. I'm like, no, like, literally, my little uterus grew this like incredible human being. And I'm like, that's amazing. I'm so proud of that.
Right.
And I just want women to like enjoy it and not be afraid. And if you're afraid, have support. And I don't know, just learn how to navigate it all.
And I think a big thing here too is, going back to you and I don't even want to say our generation. It's not like, you know, doulas are new, but it's like realizing, I think so many people don't understand what a doula is, and that they're available, and that they're closer to them than they think. But I think that it's not so much of like what I wish people would know, just knowing about you. I feel like I've been on this journey with you from the beginning, every time that you've been, growing into what you have been from where when you started all of this, and watching you grow has just been so beautiful. And now when you send me like your cute little pics all the time, and they just make me so happy, like, oh my gosh, you are helping so many women through these times. And like you said, it's not just about like just that holding space, but women knowing that this is available is so important. And it's not even just like, oh, I'll have a doula at my birth that's going to help me. This is women that are in their teens and 20s learning at that age when they first get a period to say, how do I start to nurture my body in ways that, that's why you start to get a period, because your body's telling you you're made for this. This is what your body is for. And learning how to lean into that and nurture, whether not just with food, but with everything around you, spiritually, energy, religion, relationships with people, all of these things that our body requires and needs. And just learning at an early age what that means, so that when the body's ready to become pregnant, it is really ready. It's ready to receive, and it's ready to grow and do it with nutrition and with health, and not just, Okay, so many women, and you can chime in where like these so many women that are having problems with infertility. And I know that there's a lot of different layers here. This is where your world and my world meets in alternative medicine. And a lot of times, I look at external factors, the different toxins that people could be experiencing, cellular health, that different viruses and different external factors are, affecting women. But the biggest thing that comes down to it all, and I've learned this even with my own clients, the first thing that I talk about is the nervous system. Because if people are not regulated in that department, whether it's a mindset, whether it's, we can all talk about all these external factors and the crazy climate of our world today, but you can only control yourself, your actions, your thoughts. You can't control anything else. And when you realize that, I think that's a big part of preparing your body for pregnancy. Because if you're getting pregnant or have a pregnancy that's under stress and you're not treating yourself and not just, again, taking a prenatal vitamin and, doing whatever it is that you're told by the doctor, eating right and blah, 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 avoiding this and avoiding that. I think it's so much deeper than that. It's giving yourself that spiritual connection and what is actually going on in your body. Like, you literally are incubating this person, and everything that you come in contact with affects that, right?
100 million%. And I think part of the process is first, we need to nurture little women the second they get here. So I was just at two births in less than 2 weeks. One was a home birth, one was a hospital birth. They both had little girls, but little baby girls, and they were both births were beautiful and wonderful and amazing, and very completely different. Right, a home birth is going to be always different from a hospital birth, and again, that's those women chose what was best for them. So I just hold space there, whatever they need. The hospital birth, I had like a big old sleepover at the hospital last week. But I feel like once you're here as a woman, and I get it, the boys are important too, but my focus has always been for women. Nurture these little ladies once they're born, once they get here, and take care of them and teach them the importance of taking care of their bodies, respecting themselves, taking care of their minds, nurturing themselves in a spiritual way, things like that. I feel like the times now are kind of different in the way, because I mean, I'll be 51. I'm not old, but I've been around for a while, and I've watched the trends since I've been in the fitness industry and the wellness and holistic everything. And you watch it, and to be quite honest, 28 years ago when I started doing this, like I was like the weird witchy lady, like, oh, you're like the hippie witchy weird lady. And now everyone's like, oh, hey, like, what was that thing that you were doing, like, 20 years ago when I met you? And I was like, oh, cool, like you're ready for it now, which is great. But I also feel like too, like I personally use the Enneagram. I had an opportunity to study it pretty in depth in one of my yoga teacher trainings that I did. I did a whole Kundalini, Ayurveda, Enneagram, whatever, training. And the Enneagram for me was so logic and helpful to say, like, okay, there's all these, types. There's 9 types, and understanding where you fit, what that personality looks like when it's in balance, what type. I'm a 7, so that means I'm the enthusiast and I'm excited about all the things all the time. But when I'm in stress, I go to a 1, and when I'm in growth, I go to a 5. So helping women understand how to navigate who they are in this little system. It's just another tool of understanding who you are. And then once you have that information, like for myself, even knowing that I'm a 7 and I stress out at a 1, if I'm acting like a crazy 1, I'm like, okay, I'm clearly needing something. I need some Kundalini yoga, or like a cup of skull cap tea or something. Like somebody, I don't know,
To
like
get this lady some skull cap tea.
cap tea and some Enya. I don't know. I'm like probably going to need some aromatherapy. Like,
I'll come give you a hug.
I
Let's snuggle in our matching jammies.
Exactly. So I know what I need, and I get to that point where I'm like, okay, what's not working? What's creating the kerfuffle and the disarray and the, my one friend calls it getting all bajiggity. When you get all bajiggity, I hope she watches this podcast and hears me use her word. She knows who. So when you get all bajiggity, like I go, oh, okay, I'm bajiggity, I'm at a one, but I don't want to be there. I want to be back present as a seven and like living and having fun, or I want to be at a five where I'm immersed in learning. So by understanding who we are and how we tick and what works for us and what doesn't work for us and what type of career or job or people in our lives or where do we live. I live in the mountains on a farm with entirely too many animals, and that works for me because that's where
Wait, did you
I
get,
love.
speaking of, I don't mean to change subjects, but did you get the Highland Cow text that I sent you yesterday with the link? Yeah, we'll talk about that off camera, but just,
Cow
oh,
later, put them right next to the donkey, like whatever, it's just growing. And
let's get
you know
Big Daddy on board. Get him on.
I'm
Let's,
that girl.
we can
Okay,
get him this
I'm
weekend.
the gatherer of too many chickens. Like I just love it. So I feel like if we can do this for each other as women, you know um we can just be there and say, like, share experiences, like, oh, you know what, like I'm constantly sending people to you, constantly, all the time. Like I'm like, okay, so I have a friend, who she can do all the things, and then when you're on the other side of that piece, then I can kind of step in from there and help you move forward with whatever you need. But I feel like having that kind of tribe of women where you can refer women to other women, or a podcast or a Facebook group, or I don't know, or a book, anything. So it doesn't have to be so involved. It can just be like the most simplest little things, if we can just share with each other and just help each other be well. Because the noise, that's, I've called it that forever, right? The noise is everything that's outside of us that is creating something that doesn't feel great, right? So, and when we don't feel great, when we let all the noise in, what happens? The body starts to change. And as a culture, as a Western culture, we immediately are like, something's wrong. I have a headache, my knee hurts, I can't sleep, all these physical things start to present. And you're like, okay, so your body aware. Cool. Then we go to the mental piece, right? So then you're like, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm pissed off all the time, whatever. You go into like self proclaiming like how you're feeling in a mental place. But we always shelve this soul piece. And we've talked about this so many times. Without nurturing your soul, nothing else matters. The meat suit that we're walking around in isn't important if it doesn't have a soul. It's gonna go away. So finding ways to understand who you are. For me, it's the Enneagram and yoga and Kundalini and all those beautiful things, and body work and everything that I know, being a doula, whatever. Nutrition has always been a passion of mine, which and it's like,
Sure do. Always benefiting.
exactly.
Yummy.
and I'm cool with like being the weird chick that grows stuff in the garden, and I make, I dehydrate it and turn it into medicine, or herbal teas, or I'm like, here, drink this or drink that, or my husband's hilarious. He's like, I'm feeling a thing. I'm like, all right, do this, do this, do this, and I give it to him, and he doesn't even question it. He's so used to me after being we'll be married almost 28 years this year. It's like so funny. But it's one of those things where I appreciate how we're all trying to navigate our physical wellness. That is amazing. And that is going to give us quality of life. It really is. But so is the mental stuff,
It's true.
take yoga
I
class,
it's
whatever.
it's true. And I have something that's a topic that we can kind of dive down a little bit, and we could do a whole nother podcast on this alone. And I'll be vulnerable right now. Do you remember the day? It was probably circa COVID. I remember going to the doctor and they wanted to give me a hysterectomy for my endometriosis. I'll never forget that day when I left, and I left hysterically crying because, for listeners, if you've listened to my podcast before, depending on my guests, whenever we've talked women's health and different things, I've pretty much suffered with endometriosis since I've gotten a period. And I have had surgeries before I had my son. I've had surgeries after my son. It's taken a lot of work, and it's layers. It's been layers of things of, yes, different toxins and organ function and different things along the way that I've been exposed to, different emotional traumas, so many different things that have built up. But one of the biggest things that they always treated me with from when I was literally 15 years old, every time they couldn't figure it out or a surgery worked for 6 months, was they put me on the birth control pill. So we're gonna dive down this. We can dive down this hole a little bit right now. We can do a whole episode, but like, I want you to talk a little bit about this. And I was really excited the other day. You would have been really excited. I was on with a client, and then this is what she said to me, and then I'm gonna let you just go because I know you have so much to say. But she said a younger girl in her 20s, and she was on the pill and she stopped it, and she said she was in a relationship and it wasn't that great, and she said after she stopped the pill and her body normalized a little bit, she was like, I wasn't even attracted to this man that I was with for like a couple of years. She's like, she's like, I didn't even know like what I saw in him. And I ended up ending the relationship. But when she was on the pill and then was like, went off of it and then was like, I'm not like, talk about that a little bit. What's happening there? Because
Yeah.
people need to know this, because the birth control pill is thrown out there as a fix for just anybody who is slightly having an issue with cramps or heavy periods or acne or whatever. And it makes me mad. And I have a lot to say about it, but I want to know what you have to say about it.
Are you sure?
I'm, I'm positive. I don't know if the viewers are ready for this yet. So, like, buckle up.
Are we ready for this? Um, so I my experience with birth control was when I was also young. I used to have like the debilitating periods and menstruation, and I used to get these horrible migraines that used to make me throw up and all the things. And thankfully for me, my mom would be like, "Oh, we're going to use peppermint essential oil for your headaches." And I had these like things that you put in the freezer that were gel masks, and I used to literally lay on the bathroom floor because it was dark and cold, and it gave me relief to just be in there. And yes, the toilet was conveniently there if I had to throw up. Not to be graphic, but it was a thing. So
We're
eventually,
being real today. We're being real now. We want the
we're
lady.
being real. We're being real.
Yeah.
So they had me go on to a birth control pill. This is a physician like many, many years ago. I think I was like 18, 19 years old, something like that. I know I was out of high school, but I think I was like 5 minutes out of high school. I don't think I was on that pill for more than 2 weeks. And I was out one day, out and about actually with my sister, and we were just doing, girl things, shopping and whatever. And I had like a mini stroke experience. So my face dropped and I was slurring my words. So my sister rushed me to the emergency room, and all this crazy stuff was going, and they thought I was on drugs. And I guess technically I was, but I was having an adverse effect to the pill that I was on. P.S. Since then, that pill many years ago was taken off the market because of the really intense side effects of what was happening. I never went on it ever, ever, ever again. So I had a bad experience, obviously. From there, I just kind of paid attention. And I think too, as a culture, and this is just my personal story, and we've talked about this as well. Having a period is everyone hates it. Like you hear it all the time. I'm gonna get my period. I'm gonna get my period. I'm gonna get my period. Um, Instead of embracing like what is truly happening anatomically in the body. And when I was going through perimenopause or whatever the phase of like I have this and now I don't. I haven't had my cycle since 2019, June of 2019. Um, but the first stretch that I went without it, um, one day I said to Chris, I was like, I gotta tell you something weird. And he was like, lay it on me, man, because he knows I've been saying weird things our entire relationship. So I
Sorry, I'm
said,
just picturing it all in my head.
I'm going, sorry, it's got to be you because like I got to get this out. Like it's got to happen. So I said, I haven't had a period since whenever, whatever. And he goes, all right. And I go, I'm sad. I'm sad about it because if I knew that was my last one, I would have thanked my body because without it, I wouldn't have had that cleanse every month. I wouldn't have shed what I didn't need in my body. I wouldn't have had my three amazing, beautiful, incredible children that I like. I don't know. My kids are just, to me, they're everything. And so I got kind of sad. And I was like, I wish I had a moment to just thank my body. Thankfully, a couple months later, I got my cycle. And not knowing at the time that I would only have 3 other cycles. That was it. And then it was going to go away forever. But each time I got it, I was like, you know what? Thank you. I am so grateful for this amazing uterus. I love women's uteruses. It's like my thing in life is like I care about every single woman's uterus and ovaries and vaginas and breasts. I care like how you mentally see your body. I care about how emotionally you are connected to your body. And I care what physically goes on to and with your body, especially as a woman. So I had the opportunity. So if I could say one thing to the young women out there, middle-aged women, anyone who is like still cycling, stuff like that, I understand. It's not fun sometimes. It is like it's painful. It's uncomfortable. It's kind of gross. Let's be honest. Like sometimes you're just like, I just feel gross and I need a shower. Makes you smell weird. Makes whatever. It brings on all these things. But you will miss it when it's not there. I guarantee it. It's like I know somebody like, I ain't gonna miss it. Take out my parts because just take them out. I don't need them anymore. I don't use them anymore. Careful. You have those parts. They are yours. I understand things come up where people are like, my parts are making me unwell and they need to help me with that. And I totally respect that. I'm not saying like never go to a doctor, never do whatever, but no, you navigate your health in your best way. What I'm saying is, oh my God, love yourself. Like trust, love every piece of you, love, that you're a woman, love that you love your period. I want everyone, all these women screaming from the rooftops, yeah, I got my period. I love it. It's amazing. I'm menstruating. Instead of, oh my God, I'm going to get my period on vacation. So what? So what? Just let it be a cleansing, beautiful process that you get to go through, because it's making you who you are. And the more we just let our bodies naturally do what they were biologically built to do, the better we'll be in our health. I'm 51. There's nothing wrong with me. Well, that's debatable. It depends on who you ask, I guess. But
I love you.
But like that's the thing. I am 51. I'm healthy. I'm doing great. I'm still learning. I'm in midwifery school. I'm still working. I'm still living life. I'm traveling. I got to study in Thailand last year. Like I'm doing all this really cool stuff still because I'm healthy. Because why? Because I paid attention in throughout my lifetime. I didn't wait until something was changing in my body or got, some kind of a health scare or whatever to pay attention. No, I showed up. So if you can take just little moments in the day, just show up for yourself, whatever that looks like. Is 1 hour of yoga going to change your life? Probably. Like, I can't tell you how many times, people would come into yoga or Zumba or whatever I was teaching, and they would come in, and the first thing they would say is like, yeah, I don't feel like being here. I like literally forced myself to be here. And then at the end of the class, what happened? They were like, oh, I'm so glad I forced myself to be here. The mindset just changed because why? You took the pause. So, whatever the pause is it a 10-minute walk on your lunch break? Is it a cup of herbal tea and a book on a Sunday afternoon? It doesn't have to be, incredible. Go to Thailand. I think everyone needs to go there to reset their nervous system. It's perfect. It's literally perfect. So it can be the smallest little gesture, but all it is comes down to is show up for yourself, and whatever that looks like, it's individual. If throwing axes is like your thing and your stress relief, or going to a rage room, I love that. Go. You can smash things with hammers. Like, you can do all these crazy things. Like, if that's what your like meditation is, rage room, go there. Take time to go to the rage room. If your meditation and your self-care looks a lot like my life, like, you know, petting my goats, my sheep, playing with chickens, walking my dog, going for a walk with Chris, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just make sure you do it. And when you do it, you're present in it. And if you need support, just know that there are women out there like me and Courtney, and we care about you, and we want you to be well, and we want you to have the best human experience possible. And if we know something, we'll tell you. We don't hold back, and we share, and that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Is
It
raw.
doesn't get, yeah, it's raw and real with us. We're the type of like what you see is what you get. And I think that the healthcare system needs more people that guide, women in that way, because I think that again, a lot of women don't know that there are people like Theresa out there that can help you. So whether it's preparing yourself for pregnancy, whether it's during your pregnancy, whether it's during your birth, whether it's after your birth, whether it's for years to come, whatever, at whatever stage you're in, supporting your body looks different at every age and stage, and knowing how to feed into that. And I always laugh and I always say, I always kind of like, I don't know, to me, perimenopause, and again, I'm 45 and my body's definitely changing. My cycles are changing. Um, Ever since that day when you literally, when I called you hysterically sobbing, crying, and I remember what your words were. I'll shorten it down, but I remember you said the first thing you have to do, and you talked to me in your most big sister stern voice. You were like, the first thing you need to do is get off that GD birth control pill. And I'm like, okay, because I knew that I needed to. I knew that when a specialist from the University of Pennsylvania said to me when I was, I don't know, maybe 23 years old, and when I was in pharmacy school, when I sat there with my mom, not even having any intentions at that stage of my life of getting pregnant, and was like, oh, I don't understand why doctors put women on birth control pills, especially for endometriosis. It grows off of estrogen. It doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, as soon as he did his procedure on me, and I'm like, I still am feeling these weird things, guess what he did? He wrote me a script for a birth control pill. The specialist at the University of Pennsylvania. It's the answer when the doctor doesn't know what to do. And even me being trained in traditional pharmacy, there was a couple of things I wasn't willing to try. I wasn't injecting Lupron in my body and shutting down my system and putting myself into a fake menopause when I was not even, in that part of my body. I refused. I absolutely refused. It was suggested 15 times to me over the years. And I'm like, nope, I would never do it. I would never try it. I'm like, I'll deal with the pain. I'll deal with the uncomfortableness of all of it. But I remember that day, and that day changed my life. And I thank you for it in so many ways, because it was like I know the pill never helped me. It was always the answer. And I just did what the doctor told me because it was like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know. And it got down to the point where I was like, okay. And then that was when I took on a whole new lifestyle. That was when you were like, okay. And you started to give me different things to eat. And at the time, I would think that I was relatively balanced and healthy, but I wasn't. I wasn't. You know, that was when you started to guide me through different tips on nutrition and different ways to care for myself in ways that I didn't even know. And then just a few years after that, we did Awaken, and you did your yoga training for all of us, which was the most beautiful year of my life of learning myself. It was yoga training, but it wasn't yoga training. It was an awakening inside that you taught us so many beautiful things: Bach flower, foot reflexology. I mean, everything about essential oils and pressure points and Ayurveda. And I mean, just nutrition, everything. It was such a beautiful, beautiful process that shifted so many things in my life, including the whole trajectory of my career. Like it just switched everything in me of, you know, I'm part of this problem giving out prescriptions all day and it just doesn't feel good anymore. Like I don't like doing this. I know I can really help people by finding the root cause and treating people with these basic things of like, hey, did you drink enough water with minerals today? Hey, did you get some sunlight? Hey, did you roll out your mat? And even if you're not taking a full yoga class, just get yourself present in your surroundings and just ground yourself and take some good breaths and say, I'm safe. My body is safe and loved, even if you don't have time for a full yoga class. And all of these small practices that I've started to shift into, like my endometriosis flares up when I have stress now. It doesn't flare up with my cycle or hormones. It's not even anything I ever thought it was that I've suffered from 15 to 40 something. It's a complete stress related nervous system disease for me now. When I look and I say, wow. And I know now when I'm starting to get the flares, it makes me do a deep dive and look inside of myself. Courtney, what are you doing to support yourself? You've been running around like a bat out of hell for your clients all day today, and you haven't supported yourself. What did you do for yourself today? And then when I start to do those things and give my body the TLC, it's like, okay, I'm okay. Doesn't take everything away 100%. Yes, I don't, not to say to minimize endometriosis. And yes, there is tissue growing in places it shouldn't, and it can be debilitating and painful and cause a lot of things. But when you start to deal with the layers of inflammation in your body and why this is happening in the first place, and you support that inflammation, and not just by the food you eat, yes, by the food you eat, but by your stress levels, past traumas, getting in touch with your body and really loving every inch of it and everything your body is doing as a woman that it's supposed to do. And like Theresa said, not being grossed out by a cycle, but like, you know what? There's a lot of gross stuff coming out right now that shouldn't be in my body that it's releasing. It's the same kind of detox as pooping and peeing and sweating and all of that. It's right there with all the other detoxes that needs to happen properly, or you're holding those things and recycling them. So sometimes I like to call BS on menopause and perimenopause. Yes, our body is shifting, our hormones shift. That's science, that's life, that's reality. But it's how you treat your body and the things that you do to nourish it are where the symptom control is going to lie, because it is 100% preventable to have perimenopausal ick and live a vital, happy, healthy life like you just said through your menopause, right? Like, no, it wasn't always great to be bleeding like a pig. Sorry, but ladies, we're talking real, right? It's not always a great feeling, but at the same time, being in touch with that and embracing that is the best thing that I learned how to do entering my 40s. And it shifted my whole endometriosis disease that I've suffered with my entire life as a woman. It's shifted things. Is it away completely? Do I still suffer with it? But do I know what to do when I get the symptoms? Do I know how to minimize them and treat my body? Heck yeah. It took me a really long time, and it took me having a lot of great people like Theresa being the first one that woke me up to these different practices. And I'm so grateful and blessed for you in my life.
And you know what, too, I think with the whole menopause or whatever. The label is whatever, as far as I'm concerned. But it's that stepping into this archetype for me of that wise woman archetype, right? So we travel through these really beautiful like segments in our lives, and in Ayurveda they're called the ashramas. And when you travel through the stages of life, these ashramas, things are going to change. And so when I look at who I am now compared to who I was in my, teens and 20s, like I was the wild, fun kid in high school. And then, my early 20s, same. And then I met Chris, and we, warp speed, created a family and settled down pretty young. And we give our youth and our energy and that primal piece of our life, that big chunk of like all the energy, super healthy stuff. I mean, we give that to our families, our careers, our, whatever. That's what it's for. And then when you get to go through a body change for women that is so significant, like I don't menstruate anymore, Um, I look different. I haven't had a period since 2019. We're going on 7 years here. Your skin changes. I got white hairs, like I'm a
They're,
little,
they're sparkly. They're not white. You got glitter.
darker in places that, I wasn't before. But instead of like looking at that as like a negative, I'm seeing it as like, it's just a gift. It's a gift to get old. It's a gift to grow and change. And nature and like the plan, God's plan of how we were made is a perfect design. And we don't have to put synthetic things in our bodies, and we don't have to try and control it, and we don't have to try and like not age or not change or whatever it is. It's okay to love yourself exactly where you are, wherever you are. It's okay. And you don't have to try to stop the process or whatever synthetic thing that you're taking. It's okay to say like, yeah, this is what I look like now. I don't care. I got all the wrinkles, the 11s and all the whatevers, and if you don't want them, go get Botox. I don't care. You don't want your white hairs? I got a great stylist in Warrington. She'll cover them right up. Like, it's okay, but at the same time, like, just honor that stage of life. Like, I want to be the wise woman. I've reeled back a lot in my life, and part of it too, like, that's not talked about maybe, is when you are going through hormone changes, we put so much emphasis on the menstruation piece, right? The ovaries, the uterus, stuff like that, when you and I both know that now comes in a time when the ovaries shift production of progesterone and estrogen from the ovaries goes to the adrenal cortex. So we have to really be careful of, our adrenal support, because what does that help? That helps our heart or hurts us. So don't be running around like crazy when you're feeling like hormonally charged in whatever sense that is, whatever your dominance is in that moment. Take care of yourself, pay attention. In Ayurveda, it literally is that. Like, it's intuitive nutrition, it's intuitive activity, it's cycling with the moon cycles, no matter who you are. Like, menstruating, young, kid, adult, crone, pick one, it doesn't matter, but just showing up and be present and love yourself and respect yourself. And it's okay to make changes. It's okay. We've talked about this a lot. It's okay to make changes in your career. It's okay to make changes with people who are in your life. Maybe you need to love people from a distance and not, in your personal space, and that's okay. Maybe it's you sell everything and move your entire existence from a suburban town into the middle of the Poconos. Like, whatever it looks like, it doesn't matter. Just
Did
do.
you get started on my granny pod yet? Is all I
Yeah.
have to say.
Oh my God. I have it all mapped out. I mean, Chris can spray paint the little, like the line for you, like when you move into the farm. So, but that's the thing. It's like, I just hope this podcast lands in front of someone who hears your story and understands, like, you know what? Maybe they've been where you are. Maybe it's not even endometriosis, but maybe they've been battling some kind of physical whatever or a mental whatever, and they keep showing up, at these appointments and hearing the same story that you kept hearing, like, here, just take this, let's do the procedure. And you walk out feeling no different and understanding, like, there's other ways to do it, and showing up for yourself, is one of those ways. Am I saying that, eating organic everything is going to solve your problems? Yes. No, I'm just kidding. But it's going to help. I'm that girl. Like, buy the organic bananas. Okay, it's coming from the soil. So anything that you can do, little changes, whatever, paying attention, because the good piece of our culture right now is that there is this incredible awareness, and it just keeps building and building and building and building. And it's like, oh, we're not supposed to like work all the hours and not like take time to rest or go to the gym or take the yoga class or whatever it is, to just have that balance in your life. There's been an imbalance for so many, generations. And now we're like, oh, we're like not doing it right. We're doing it right now. So I was alive when they were doing it like the other way. And now I'm seeing the shift, even in my own children who are now, they're all in their 20s, adulting, doing great things, but they take care of themselves. All three of my kids cook. They take care of their homes, their environments, they exercise, they enjoy life, they have a balanced lifestyle. So if we can teach the second they get here, start nurturing that in them, and then build, maybe then we'll see this beautiful big shift, you know?
I love it. And like you said, I hope that this podcast does find its way. I know it will. It absolutely will. And this is going to be the first of many for our listeners. So if this podcast, hit you, hit the subscribe button, and there's going to be more. We're going to dive into some topics because, like we started this podcast, if you don't know, you don't know. I certainly didn't when I was younger, and even now, I'm still learning the way. But a lot of great topics. Women's health is such a broad area that's not talked about enough. It's not. I'm talking details. We're gonna dive in. We're gonna go in. We can talk pregnancy. We can talk fertility. We can talk about you know we can do a whole segment on birth control. We can do a whole segment on perimenopause and beyond. There's so many different ways. I'm even excited to do one just on Ayurvedic health and just so many different things. Herbs, just really bringing awareness to people. There's so many topics, and if you don't know, you don't know. So, we're just here to share what we've been through and the things that we've learned along the way. So, I think the main takeaway was, like Theresa just said, love your body, embrace your body at every age and stage, and listen to it. Listen to it when it's telling you things. Symptoms, I tell this to my clients all the time. Symptoms are like whispers. They're like your body being like, hey, slow down. Hey, stop. No, I don't like that. You're not giving me enough of this. And listen to those whispers. Symptoms are not by chance. Symptoms are your body telling you that you need something. And if you don't listen to them, that's when disease happens. So if you listen to the little whispers when you see something change or shift, and you say, hey, what do I really need today? Did I do the self-care things? Did I drink enough water? Did I get out in the sun? Did I exercise? Did I fill my bucket? Did I surround myself with loving people? What did I do today for me that's making me better? And I think that just in general is going to make you just feel better, be better, and overall obtain health and wellness.
Absolutely. And know that you're deserving of it, and tell Courtney what topics
Yes,
that you want to know about, because it's literally like infinite.
it is. It absolutely is. So stay tuned for more on women's health. We definitely will be bringing it back. We've got a lot planned already. So there's just only enough time per episode. So we hope, that you got something good from this today, but stay tuned. More to come. Thank you so much for all of your knowledge and wisdom, T. You inspire me every day. You have taught me so much. And I just thank you and love you so much.
I love you so much too. Don't make me cry on the podcast.
All right. Until next time.
All right. Bye.